Hey guys, real quick before you watch this video, I just want to let you know this was filmed quite a while ago. The Bronc Buster system on my 2.0 has held up phenomenally on the Rubicon and multiple other trails, thousands of miles. But we're going to be taking it apart soon because I'm upgrading to the Haas 3.0. Only doing it for YouTube, not because I necessarily need it. I also have a lot of options coming from 74 weld as well. They did not exist for the Bronco steering when this video was first filmed. Please keep that in mind. I know it's a hotly debated topic, but let's not go into that in the comments. I would appreciate it. The other thing I want to showcase is that a full review is coming out with the Haas 2.0. I'm going to be taking it out of my Bronco, comparing it to a stock 2.0 that's not modified, that's been run on 37s. We're going to be going over 74 weld stage 1 system, stock Haas 3.0, and Haas 3.0 with Bronc Buster goodies. That is all coming soon. Stay tuned. Enjoy the video. Well, hey guys, it's Caleb again, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the Bronc Buster passenger side housing. Now I have some issues with my steering after lifting my Bronco, which you'll get into in another video. But I just want to show you kind of my perspective on the housing, what it's like if you need it. Now keep in mind I have 37-inch tires on, and I've been running a King lift for about 5 or 6 days now. So I haven't been running it very long, but before I put on the lift, I had a 1-inch spacer leveling kit that I've run on my Bronco for about a year now. So I'm curious to see for myself, taking off this housing, how much damage is in there. And you know, there's a lot of varying opinions on Bronc Buster, and he's a hotly debated topic right now. But I personally like the guy. I like his product. I like how he tests it, so to speak, on the Rubicon and the rocks. And it's definitely something that has to be fixed because people do break them, and I do wheel pretty hard when I'm out. So I'm going to see for myself if I have any damage, and we'll go from there. This isn't a tutorial video. It's not really much of a how-to. I'm going to kind of go through it quickly as I learn because I'm kind of scared, honestly. But if you want to see how exactly to do it, check out Bronc Buster, his channel, or Bronco's Adventures. That guy's pretty cool, and he does his own really good tutorial on how to do this. But first off, we're going to remove the front skid plate and this Bronc Buster tie rod brace, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. You're going to have fun. Now next up, after you get that nice big old skid plate off, and you know, you get your brace off if you have one, you're going to take a 21mm socket. Now I don't have 21mm sockets. I speak American. So I have a 13/16, and that seemed to fit right on nice and snug, so I'm not worried about stripping it. You're going to stick that sucker right here, and you're going to pop it off. Now I already did it. It just came off in 2 pops with an impact gun. This is a Harbor Freight one, $70, so not much money. Pops off, and then we're going to get a hammer, and we're going to smack that sucker until hopefully this thing breaks loose and comes off. Alright guys, I'm not going to lie, getting this to come break loose, very difficult. Borrowed a brass hammer from a neighbor, smacking the heck out of this thing, nothing was happening. On the knuckle, nothing. Gave it 2 mild whacks to the top right here, which you're probably not supposed to do, and then 3 whacks to the bottom of the nut, and it popped right off. So, you gotta be careful with this. You don't want to take a steel hammer. Someone previously did it, and they kind of bent the metal up already. So I'm trying to avoid that. Thankfully, that did the trick. Bronco's adventure video, he showed exactly how to do it, and his way worked really good. So thank you, Bronco. I don't know if you can see here, but there's a little clamp in there. You're going to take a flathead screwdriver, put it on the nub, and just give it a whack with the hammer, and that clamp will break loose. Bronc Buster includes another clamp to use over that. Requires a big old set of pliers. So bring your best. Don't get caught slacking. Lefty loosey, right tighty. And off we go. And there we have it, tie rod. Okay guys, for a second I got pretty disheartened because after I tore everything apart, I realized something. my rough country hidden winch mount is in the way of that bolt I have to pull out. Now that bolt is the one that goes through the passenger housing on the steering rack. And, well, I couldn't get to it. So I had to pull my front skid plate off, and then thankfully, just by undoing the bolts that mount the worn winch on, I could slide it over and now access that bolt with an extension and a 13/16 socket. Calls for a 21 millimeter, but the 13/16 is a super snug fit. It's not going to strip it. So all is not lost. We can still do this. I don't have to pull this whole thing out. Oh boy, guys, that was a tough one for sure. That passenger side housing bolt right here did not want to go. Make sure if you do this, you have a really good impact wrench. I had an air compressor and I had an electric 3/8 450-pound impact gun, and the air impact gun for my compressor couldn't do it. Ended up using a breaker bar. Breaker bar was bending, so on top of the breaker bar I had to put this big old tube. Then it went. That was a pain. So make sure you got the right tools. Don't cheap out. There she is. I worked for this one, and I'm proud of this. Okay, well, I'm not really sure what's next. I think we take this housing and we start taking these the 7 bolts off of it. See Bronco's video for more details on how to take these bolts off. They're just 7 bolts right here. I mean, look at it yourself, pull them off. Yeah, it's like a Torx. Okay, the rest of it was pretty easy. Now I'm told to get all the bolts out. It's just a matter of sticking a screwdriver in there somehow, or doing some pry action on the housing to get that sucker to pop off. Get underneath that sucker. That's some sticky goo. If you don't have one, get a pry bar. You're gonna need it. And there we have it. It's out. That was way more work than I thought. Tiny little... That belt is so tiny. Dang, that's tiny. I'm surprised that's what turns these big tires. That's crazy. Okay, so here we have our housing. Honestly, really good shape. Not sure how to take this bushing out. It's in there pretty good. It is elongated a tiny bit right there, and a tiny bit right there at the top. I can see where it's just started to wear on it. That's probably because I put my lift on. So that's just from a few days of having the lift on. That elongation there and there, which would have been, yeah, at the bottom and the top of the bushing. So, was my bushing bad? No. But what it does tell you is that from just less than a week of this lift being installed and maybe about 150 miles, I'm already elongating my bushing, top and bottom. I've only gone off-roading once, and that was just for 20 minutes. So, yeah, you do need to change out these housings if you're going to run a lift kit. So look into Broncbuster's bushing, his housing, and all his stuff. It's good stuff. He was telling the truth, guys. That's wearing out right there. Alright, let's give this a shot. Oh, look, it's working. Ta-da! That was the first thing that worked as it should have. This entire install. That still looks good. Now, Bronco doesn't go over this, so I'll go over it for you guys. You got to get that other side of the bushing out too. And as you can see, it doesn't thread in here. But what it does do, this will come in and it'll catch right there, so we can just smack it the opposite way now. Theoretically. Okay, so we got our sides. Orient it like so. Threaded side, numbers facing down, like so. Other side, it's going to go in here, like so. Easy, right? Yeah. Take your super lube, super duper, and lube that sucker up. Bronco says, be nice to it. Never have enough lube. All the lube. Yep. Get that sucker started. Same for the other side. Then get yourself a big old vise. If you have a press, much better. But like Bronco, I'm a poor man. And I really hope this works. Until it's all the way in. You're gonna have to keep adjusting to make sure it goes in nice and smooth. It's gonna want to slide on you a little bit. I'll let you know when I'm done. Now, as you can see, I'm almost done. Actually, I am done. So make sure you just get yourself a big old C-clamp. Take your time with it. This took me about 5 minutes. Wasn't really that hard, actually. Hardest part today, that I smacked my finger and it's already turning purple and getting kind of big. Hit it with the mallet. Yeah, that looks good. Sweet. Made in the USA. Alright, now on to the dowels. See, in this housing, the old housing, yuck, we have 2 dowels. 1, 2. Those suckers got to come out and they got to go in the new housing. If you're in doubt about which ones to go into, it's the holes with the lip. All the other holes are smooth all the way through, but these, they'll have a little lip in there. The camera probably can't tell. Oh no, there it is. There's that lip. So yeah, they go in the one with the lip. You can also put them side by side. Compare them. Okay, so now we're going to do the dowels. Move this out of the way. Bingo. That dowel goes right there, which means on the housing, it's going to go right there. Knipex work best on this one. If you don't have Knipex, you can use a press thingy, but Knipex, so nice. $70, Snap-on has them, only ones like it. Now for the other one. There we go. Seated. All right, we have assembled our housing. Looks pretty good. Now we're going to clean it up, make sure there's no junk in there, blow it out, spray it out, and put it back on the rack. Okay, well next what we got to do, cycle the steering rack all the way over. Then we're going to get some rags. We're going to wipe down this screw. The main reason for doing that is if there's any metal shavings in there, any dirt, any gunk, we want to make sure we get it all off. And well, we might have metal. Is that metal? There's some sparkle. Probably not gonna be able to tell. Nah, you're not gonna tell. There's little dirt chunks, which is kind of weird to me. I'm not sure why there's dirt in there. But other than that, it's pretty clean. Like I said, it was just the bushing starting to go. There's a little sparkle in there. I can't tell if that's just grease or if that's metal shavings, but it's honestly not that bad. So we'll clean all that up. Then we gotta clean off our mating surface. Make sure we get all that silicone off. You can use a razor blade. Just be very careful with this belt. You need a fresh mating surface. Take your time, do it right. I'll be back when I'm done. All right, next we take some of that super lube and we lube that shaft up real nice. Make it nice and silky sweet. And after we do that, we're gonna start reassembling everything. All right, so now we're gonna take some of our gasket maker and we're gonna come along around here on the inside of the bolt holes and apply our gasket maker, being as careful as we can not to get it inside the housing. I don't have a very steady hand, so my gaskets aren't that great. Alright, after you make it all the way around, just kind of go around and touch it up. Make sure there's no gaps or big lumpy spots. Alright, now it's going to go on the Bronco and we're going to hope for the best. Moment of truth, right? Now we just put all the screws in. Now, of course, installation is the reversal of removal. Diesels. You're going to take your bolt, you're going to finagle this Bronco bushing back in place, and you're going to put that bolt back into that housing and torque it down real snug. Well, I'm running out of battery, so I got to make this fast. But essentially, you put that passenger side housing bolt back through, that big sucker I told you about, and you torque that sucker to 184 foot-pounds of torque. I don't have a torque wrench that goes that high. I just did 3 ooga doogas and some hits with an impact hammer. Hope that helps. Alright guys, well, we got that sucker back in. Now if this is giving you some issues putting it back in and the ball joint spinning, that's fine. Just put a vice grip or something, Knipex again, on that sucker. Use a 21mm and thread that back on. And then give it some ooga doogas. It's 46 foot-pounds of torque. Over here, we got that screwed back on. That was easy. I took my big crescent wrench, ooga dooga'd it down. I don't have a torque measuring for a crescent wrench, so I did that. Put my clamp back on, push it all the way back until it pops into place. Put your clamp on, tighten it down. Make sure you can access the flathead to tighten her down. Put this back in its groove. Pop that snap ring back on, and this sucker is good to go. Now I gotta kind of do everything else, which is put my tire back on, and because I had the rough country winch, I had to pull all that stuff off, my skid plates. So I'm gonna put my skid plates back on. I'm gonna clean that up, put my tire back on. You don't need to see that, so I'll get back to you when it's done with my results. And yeah, I'm losing my voice.